I hope you are all having a great day, because honestly it was a pretty good day. We just got done with the stream. It was a genuinely good stream. We had 32 people there, and I really do appreciate you showing up for the Salt and playing a bit of Stalker 2. It was genuinely good. I enjoyed the time, and I hope to see you there next time when we stream on Monday. Well, Sunday for you Americans, of course. But anyway, you're not here to hear about that, as much as you may want to. You're here to hear about a fanboy who believes Xbox is dead yet again, even though he said it last week. But this time, it's kinda more miserable, because he doesn't really have anything to convey and just kinda says a bunch of stupid shit until it actually works. But for the most part, it's kinda just a mid-video that I thought we would go sit there, laugh at, and look at, and kind of enjoy it, as you have a mental breakdown trying to deal with his garbage opinions. As always, it's our so-called favorite fanboy, Methcast guy.
Hey there gamers, Dreamcast guy here, and today we're talking about the very brutal week that Xbox has just had, because even just the last 72 hours has been pretty much the worst Xbox has ever experienced.
This week has been a genuinely bad week for Xbox? You're telling me this is worse than the announcement of the Xbox One? You're telling me this is even worse than some of the most driest periods, even though this month has had Black Ops 6 be genuinely successful, and Stalker 2 being genuinely successful. So I don't know how this is the worst week Xbox has ever had, or one of their worst weeks at all. It seems like it's been a pretty good week for them.
From getting review bombed of their new game, launching stuff completely broken.
Launching stuff completely broken, well that's not out of the characteristics of Microsoft. They've done that many times with the previous games before, but in the case of Stalker 2, they have nothing to do with Stalker 2. They just gave money to the company and have us deal for exclusivity for like 3 or 4 months until it eventually comes to PlayStation. Which it isn't necessarily exclusivity as it's on PC, so it's a multiplayer release. It's just excluded from PlayStation, which honestly kinda sucks. And may not even get a PlayStation release for some time. As you can see right here in the screenshot, they don't really have plans right now for it, but I do hope it does come to PlayStation within those 3 months. I don't want you guys missing out. But if it takes longer, it should come eventually. And I should also give credit to Fratanga. I saw the screenshot for him, I did some quick research to see if I could find anything else on it, and that's what a lot of other articles that have commented on this have also mentioned. So from everything that I've seen, what he's provided here is true. But please, take it with a grain of salt. He may be completely wrong, I may be completely wrong, and it may come out within those 3 months, and we're just overthinking it from stuff they've previously said. So don't take it completely seriously.
Winning no awards, just across the board. I want to break this week down, because we've been discussing on the channel for the last year or so the death of Xbox.
You have said Xbox is dead over and over, week on week, month after month, year after year for the last year. Probably isn't year after year, I know I'm a bit exaggerating there, but for the last year or two, year and a half maybe, you've said Xbox is dead near weekly, and yet they're still here to this day. Even with all their garbage business practices and unfinished games that they like to release, they're still here, they're still making money. They still show up and publish games, work on games, and do whatever. I don't get how you can say Xbox is dead, and yet they're still here the next week, and then you're gonna make another video saying this over and over again, and we're more than likely going to respond to it because it's easy views.
It's very obvious that Microsoft gaming will continue to exist in some form, but the current idea of Xbox, where you get a physical console and just subscribe to Game Pass, I think it's pretty obvious that that stuff is about to implode. But
you've said Microsoft, Xbox is going to implode every video, and I'm yet to see it, Methcast guy. Is rent really due that early already? It's only been a week. I'm begging you to give me a good reason why Xbox is dying. Like, you can literally look at the games that they publish and be like, oh, those games are going to be buggy and broken on launch. In the case of their first-party games, that's usually the thing, like with Halo Infinite. As much as I like that game, it doesn't matter if you rebrand your studio or what. I know this isn't really necessary, but like there is actual criticism you can put towards these big companies and big conglomerates of groups of people. It's not that hard. But then you're like, oh, Game Pass and Xbox is dying. Then you look at Black Ops 6 having increased numbers. It's also the top seller on Xbox. You literally say later in this video that Xbox guys don't buy games. And it's a top seller, and Game Pass doesn't contribute to that. And Game Pass has also seen an increase in subscribers because of Black Ops 6. And Stalker's a pretty good game regardless of all of its issues. As a long-time Stalker fan, it's pretty much everything I wanted. I took a bit of a break during the recording of this video to go play a bit more. It's a pretty good game so far, I've enjoyed my time with it. It's like I'm playing the old Stalker games, it's great. So tell me again how Xbox is dead.
Ever could have imagined. But, okay, video game time. So, I saw a bunch of people talking about the fact that we're going to have to go through multiple headlines here, but let's start with the fact that apparently Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 came out this week, and I can't believe...
Why are you putting coming out in quotation? It came out. It's a game that released. It's not like Concord that's like, it came out and disappeared after 2 weeks, both games came out, right? You get where I'm going. They were out. There's no, gimmick to it. They're out. I don't get what you're trying to insinuate here. Did I miss something about it? I don't really know much about Flight Sim. For someone that plays a lot of War Thunder Air Realistic, you would expect me to, but I've never taken an interest in the game. I honestly forgot it even existed.
If I have to put that in quotes, the game is unplayable. It's busted. It's completely busted. I love this headline here where they said Flight Simulator struggles to take off. It's actually already being put into the overwhelmingly negative. Oh my god.
Ew, I hate that you're trying to exaggerate. I actually had a quick look through the Steam reviews, and what people are just saying is that it's pretty much 2020's Flight Simulator or whatever. I don't know. I don't take too much of an interest in Flight Sim, and that it doesn't really seem like much of an upgrade with a lot of issues. It's pretty much a buggy and broken game with really terrible optimization from what it sounds like in the reviews. Which, what did we expect? It's a modern day game, it releases buggy and broken and they'll fix it later, which honestly is pretty disappointing, but it shouldn't have been released in this bad state, and honestly, everyone calling it out, good, call it out. Microsoft does deserve all the hate for releasing a buggy and broken game.
Reviews collapse. Dev admits it completely underestimated the excitement for the game. But wait, that's not all. The bad news continues. Now, some people are saying that Stalker 2 is in a good state. Some people are saying it's almost unplayable, but we do know for a fact that people are playing it. Stalker 2 is selling very well, but I've seen a lot of people incredibly upset that the game just itself is filled with tons of glitches from...
I'm very 50-50 on this, mainly because this is what you would expect from a Stalker game, as the previous 3 Stalker games are buggy and broken. I'm by no means an OG player of these games. I played them a couple years back and really enjoyed them. And I really do need to play them again. They're actually really fun games. But those games were all buggy and broken. Now, does that justify this game being buggy and broken? But if you're a Stalker fan, you kind of expected it. But honestly, we should criticize it, regardless if they were in a war or not. They shouldn't be releasing games like this at all. They should just be saying, hey look, we can delay this game for another year and go through more QA. I completely understand that. It really does disgust me that this requires to run at recommended specs a 40 series card. It really annoys me that there is no optimization for some of this stuff, and it's really annoying. So it's very 50-50. You can look at this as, oh my god, it really is a Stalker game. It's buggy, broken, and doesn't really work sometimes, but also feels like a Stalker game. Because the game under it is genuinely pretty good from what I've played. It's really a Stalker game. It's cool, but it comes with a lot of issues, so I understand why people are criticizing it, but we also need to keep in mind that they were in a war zone for a time, during some of the years of development, plus it's been through like 12 years of development hell.
Reflections not working, lighting not working, just monsters spawning directly on top of you and being invincible, dead bodies T-posing. People are buying Stalker, but
I kind of want to comment on some of the glitches that I've experienced. I haven't experienced any T-posing, and it's never happened to me, at least in my playthrough, but one glitch that I've experienced quite a lot is running into an enemy encampment, and then you could be walking through a building, and they eventually all spawn in throughout the encampment, which is pretty funny. Then you have to fight your way out after getting all this free loot that you found inside of a stash. But some of the most egregious and easiest glitches that I've noticed is overlapping textures where they will start flickering constantly because of either lighting issues or just the textures not overlapped correctly. Which is pretty annoying because it does take you out of the immersion of the game, but those are probably the most common ones that you'll probably notice. I believe that's pretty universal. Maybe people that have played it can notify me in the comments of what they've had as well, so maybe they can confirm the T-posing is true.
We're going to loop back on the buying of Stalker 2 because I think this is part of a grander point that I want to hit here, but here's the other thing I've seen a lot of people discussing, which is that Right now we have the nominees for the Game Awards, obviously coming up, and nothing Xbox related has pretty much any nominations. I think Hellblade 2 got most interesting narrative, but it's very obvious it's not going to win that. Well, last night the Golden Joystick Awards happened, and literally every single thing that won is either a PlayStation 5 exclusive or is a PlayStation 5 game.
That is not true, Dreamcast guy. I went through it live on stream. PlayStation only got 9 out of the majority of the awards. I don't remember how many awards that they were. I'm sorry, I didn't really pay too much attention because I don't really care about award shows. They literally mean nothing to me, and if you need those to exist, I don't know. I can't wait to make my Game Awards video so people can get mad at me for saying the show's absolute ass again. And this wasn't a sweep like Last of Us 2 was in the Game Awards, I think it was 2020. I hope. I'm not really good at thinking. Thinking isn't my strong suit. But yeah, it wasn't a sweep like everyone was saying it is. Like Dreamcast guy is saying right here, you know, you saw Black Myth, Wukong, Balatro, some of these other games there that were all third party that had no connection to PlayStation. They're just there. This isn't a sweep. Literally look at the screenshot that he provided, or the picture, because you'll scroll down the list, and if you read that list, only 9 of those things are PlayStation related, or just third-party games.
Best Studio went to Team Asobi for Astrobot. I think it was Best Console Game went to Helldivers 2. Best Multiplayer Game, Best Soundtrack, Best Storytelling, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I mean, it's pretty obvious that it was a clean sweep. Now, this is purexbox.com, and even they are having to phrase it as politely as possible. Xbox has a quiet night as Golden Joystick winners are revealed. But I think the other part of it that's been in my mind, I feel like I keep thinking about how they have tried to pivot with Game Pass. It's pretty obvious that Game Pass is in a very bad state by Xbox's own financial reports.
Bro, you're using an article from January. January. The beginning of this year. There's been a whole 11 to 12 months since then. A whole year of games have came out and probably changed the landscape for Game Pass. Like Black Ops 6, for example, that saw an increase in Game Pass subscribers. This is why no one takes you seriously, because you go out of your way to give incorrect information by grabbing an article from nearly a year ago. It doesn't help your argument, it doesn't make you look more credible. Because a lot has changed since then. A lot of stuff has happened since then with games releasing an increase in subscribers, and what you're showing isn't necessarily true anymore. Maybe at the time it was, but now it really isn't. I'm with you if you want to go out there and say, hey look, if I grabbed an article from a month ago, that's still relevant. But a whole ass year ago? Really? Come on, this is why no one takes you seriously for news, and if people do, I feel really bad for them.
The idea of subscription-based models, it's not really probably blowing up the way they originally intended. I think that when they first brainstormed the idea of Game Pass, apparently internally, Phil Spencer thinks that Game Pass is the best idea ever. And on paper, it seems like it should have taken off. Instead of getting people to buy, 2 or 3 $70 games every single year, you get people to pay $15 a month or $10 a month as it originally was, and you get 100 million people to do it. And so more people are enjoying more games, and it's more money for more developers. I mean, it makes sense on paper, but what ended up happening is because Xbox isn't making enough games, and a lot of their games honestly are launching broken, unfinished, like we're seeing this week with Stalker 2 pretty much being unplayable. A lot of reviewers have called it unplayable, and literally unplayable games like Flight Sim. I think it's starting to signal to people that Game Pass is definitely on the verge of total collapse. In fact,
I just want to ask this question. If Game Pass is on its way out, or is about to have a total collapse, why continue it for all these years? I forgot how long Game Pass has been around for. I think it's around 6-7 years or so. It's been quite around for some time. And you wouldn't think Microsoft would cancel this like they did with some of their other stuff in the past, if it wasn't profitable, or if there wasn't a reason for it to exist. Clearly there's a reason that it should exist, because it's still doing something and they haven't cancelled it. I want to know why. If they're not making the money for it, why continue it? There's clearly this inherent value for it to still exist. And clearly they still see a reason with just investing in it and continuing to invest in it. Because if it wasn't making money, they wouldn't continue it. It's that simple. If it's not going to be profitable, if it's not going to have that inherent value of seeing profit over time, Why continue something that's just going to make you lose money?
What's even interesting to me is when you see stuff like this, Xbox Game Pass games for November are confirmed, but you'll notice it says Standard, Ultimate, PC. This multi-tiered system of Game Pass, I think, is part of what's causing confusion.
What's confusing about it? PlayStation also has a multi-tiered system that gives you certain features, does it not, with PS Plus? I could be wrong. I don't really pay too much attention to PS Plus as I don't use the platform at all, so I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong, but I'm correct. They offer you certain features to certain tiers. So what's the difference between that and Game Pass Ultimate and the standard version and Core, right? It's the exact same thing. You just get more features as the price goes higher, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Like, in that case, wouldn't that mean that PlayStation's version is also confusing because it has different tiers and it confuses the shit out of people? Like, I don't get that logic. Like, well, what's so confusing? They literally list all the stuff that you're going to get with each one when you purchase your Game Pass Ultimate and what features you're entitled to with that purchase.
I get a chance to talk to casual gamers a lot, or what I almost feel like are mid-tier gamers. People that buy stuff, that love stuff, that are plugged into new releases, but they're not, sitting there on Blue Sky or Twitter actually tracking every update and news article, and a lot of times they do not understand why there's multiple Xboxes, why there's Xbox as an app on PC. A lot of people just don't get that, or if they do get that, it's because they only pay attention to one ecosystem, right?
Are you stupid? Like, genuinely, Dreamcast guy, I want to know, how is this a knock against Xbox? It's not that confusing. They literally tell you the differences. You can look up the differences with ease. And so does PlayStation. You have the PS5, the PS5 Slim, the PS5 Pro, the Portal, and many other accessories and things that you can get alongside that. Does that make PlayStation confusing? No, they literally tell you the differences in most of these places where you buy this stuff. What is a Pro model? What is a Slim model? They will tell you what all this stuff is. It is not confusing. And if you get confused by that, you may be just a bit special. Like, Xbox offers different versions of their Xbox Series console. Are they better? No, I just think they add better storage and they make you really overcharge for it, which is stupid. Like, I don't get it. Like, what's so confusing? I genuinely want to know. Like, are any of you confused by the differences in Xboxes? Or the differences in PlayStation? It really shouldn't be that hard to tell the difference.
So I almost feel like the fact that Ultimate has not really taken off the way they wanted, one of the main reasons they invented the highest tiers of Game Pass is because of the purchase of Call of Duty. This was a massive acquisition, costing $69 billion for Microsoft, and it's pretty obvious that the whole idea was Microsoft saying, okay, we're going to write one big paycheck, one massive paycheck to you for Xbox, but you got to find a way to finally be profitable. Xbox has been burning billions of dollars now for years and years and years. And so
I will say this again. If Microsoft was burning billions of dollars every year, they wouldn't be continuing with the strategy that they were. It's just not going to work. You're not going to waste that much money. That would be dumb to waste that amount of money. It genuinely would. Like, you wouldn't catch me wasting billions of dollars on something that isn't working. Unless there was an actual incentive to see it continue in the future, but there really isn't at that point if you're wasting billions. And that's a lot of money to be wasting.
This seemed like their big Hail Mary, their chance to basically say, okay, please subscribe to Game Pass, because this year, Call of Duty Black Ops 6 did go directly into Game Pass, but only the highest tier of it, the most expensive, price-increased tier of it, and it seems like, honestly, it didn't shift things as much as people probably hoped on Team Green's side. It seems like there was a spending boost, so some people did probably go from basic tier of Game Pass to Game Pass Ultimate to make sure they had Call of Duty, but what ended up happening is nobody bought the game on Xbox. Nobody.
You can literally disprove that by going to the top sellers on Xbox and taking a look for yourself. Black Ops 6 is literally the top selling game. The Vault Edition is as well. It's the top selling game on Xbox. Saying that people are not buying it on Xbox is genuinely stupid, when you can go look at the top sellers for yourself.
bought the game at all on Xbox, which means that every single person that bought it, I think a lot of the numbers I've seen, 85% of people only bought it on the PlayStation 5, which is good. I'm not going to say those sales are bad. In fact, that is still a lot of money that's going to Xbox. Now, keep in mind, when stuff sells on other systems, there's a 30% price cut. If Xbox puts games on PlayStation and they sell it for $100, Xbox gets $70 and $30 goes to PlayStation. So Sony is definitely happy about this because the extreme popularity of Black Ops 6 means they have extra billions of dollars now for their own development and own exclusives. There has been talks about the fact that it's now officially confirmed that From Software is currently in full-blown discussions about being purchased by Sony.
They're not there to purchase From Software, you mouth breather. They're there for Kadokawa and the anime and manga that they have. They want the distribution site so they can have a monopoly over it. This isn't like Activision Blizzard, right? They will literally own all the distribution sites for anime and manga. Now, I don't take an interest in anime and manga, so I can't really tell you if that's true or not. But if they own a majority of those distribution sites, that may come off as a monopoly. But I don't know anything about it, I can't comment off it, I'm just repeating what people have already told me. So take that as you will, do the research if you desire. I personally don't care what they do with anime and manga as I don't watch it. But when it comes to From Software, I would genuinely hope they go independent, as it's been something that Miyazaki has stated that he's wanted for some time, to see From Software independently publish their games and develop their own games without the need of other people. So could this happen because of it? Probably not, but it would be a nice pipe dream.
Officially declared. It's not a rumor. It is officially declared. And so I've seen a lot of people joking about the fact that, honestly, Sony just got so many billions and billions and billions of dollars off Game Pass with zero work, zero investment of their own. They're like, okay, now they're going to buy From Software using that Call of Duty money.
They literally made no money from Game Pass. They made money from copies sold on the PlayStation platform as a distributor. They got the 30% like everyone else does. Like Steam does. Wow, they somehow make Game Pass money without Game Pass being on their platform? What a good, smart, reasonable form of logic, am I right? I really don't want to cover the rest of this video, bro. It's just him saying whatever shit sticks to the wall. I really couldn't care no more. I think I've done enough. You got a 20-minute video, so I hope you appreciate that. But anyway, we're gonna leave the video here. If you want to like, subscribe, you can. If you want to tune in on Mondays for all the streams, you can. If you want to become a member, it's only like $1, $2 US. It's very cheap and you get permanent access to the Discord and maybe some other features down the line. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Goodbye, have a great day, I'll see you in the next one.